Thursday, the 29th of July, 1943. Dear Kitty, Mr. and Mrs. Van Daan, Dussel, and I were doing the dishes, and I was extraordinarily quiet, which hardly ever happens, so they would have to be sure to notice. In order to avoid questions, I quickly sought a fairly neutral topic and thought that the book Henry from the Other Side would meet the need. But I had made a mistake. If Mrs. Van Daan doesn't pounce on me, then Mr. Dussel does. This was what it came to. Mr. Dussel had specifically recommended me the book as being excellent. Margot and I thought it was anything but excellent. The boy's character was certainly well drawn, but the rest, I had better gloss over that. I had said something to the effect while we were washing the dishes, but that brought me a packet of trouble. How can you understand the psychology of a man? Of a child is not so difficult. You are much too young for a book like that. Why even a man of 20 would not be able to grasp it? Why did he so especially recommend this book to Margot and me? Now Dussel and Mrs. Van Daan continue together. You know much too much about these things that are unsuitable for you. You've been brought up all wrong. Later on, when you are older, you won't enjoy anything. Then you'll say, I read that in books 20 years ago. You had better make haste if you want to get a husband or fall in love, or everything is sure to be a disappointment to you. You're already proficient in the theory, it's only the practice that you still lack. I suppose it's their idea of a good upbringing to always try to set me against my parents, because that is what they often do, and to tell a girl of my age nothing about grown up subjects is an equally fine method. I see the results of that kind of upbringing frequently and all too clearly. I could have slapped both their faces at that moment as they stood there making a fool of me. I was beside myself with rage, and I'm just counting the days until I'm rid of those people. Mrs. Van Daan is a nice one. They still said those people back then. Mrs. Van Daan is a nice one. She sets a fine example. She certainly sets one, a bad one. She is well known as being very pushy, selfish, cunning, calculating, and is never content. I can also add vanity and coquetry to the list. There is no question about it. She is an unspeakably disagreeable person. I could write whole chapters about Madame, and who knows, perhaps I will some day. Anyone can put on a fine coat of varnish outside. Mrs. Van Daan is friendly to strangers and especially men, so it is easy to make a mistake when you have only known her for a short time. Mummy thinks she is too stupid to waste words over, Margot too unimportant, him too ugly, literally and figuratively, and I, after long observation, for I was never prejudiced from the start, have come to the conclusion that she is all three and a lot more. She has so many bad qualities, why should I even begin about one of them? Yours, Anne. Will the reader take into consideration that this story was written when the writer had not cooled down from her fury? Yes, Anne, we'll take that in consideration, but I really enjoyed the way you described Mrs. Van Daan. That was great, and if I was your teacher, I would give you an A plus. Every teacher in the world would. Good job. My name is Gregory Brand. I am a teacher, so click the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, help me build this channel so I can retire.